What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're gonna talk some basketball. Orlando Magic basketball. A lot of conversations have been going around for the past couple weeks. What should the Magic do this upcoming offseason? Should they go after Kemba Walker? Should they go after D'Angelo Russell? Should they re-sign Vukovic? Should they re-sign Terrence Ross? Should they trade and unload Mars God's contract? Should they trade and unload Evan Fournier's contract? A lot of conversations have been going around in the Magic chat rooms and all the different type of Magic websites and message boards and things like that. But those things are not in the Magic's control. We can't we don't know who's going to offer Kemba Walker and D'Angelo Russell contracts, and also if they would willing to sign here. Who could be the trade partner to take on Marv God's contract? Who's be the trade partner to take on Fournier's contract? Would Vooch stay? Would Terrence Ross stay? All those type of things. Those are things that we don't have under our control. But something we do somewhat have under our control is who the Magic should draft with the 16th pick in Thursday's draft on the 20th. Who could the Magic take on and draft with the number 16th pick is really pretty much in the Magic's control for the most part. Of course, you know, the chips have to fall a certain way, but for the most part, it's pretty much in your own control. So we're going to talk about some things that we can do right there. But before we get into that, I want to say to any Toronto Raptor fans that's still watching my page, hey, I appreciate y'all still watching my channel. I want to apologize because, yes, I was the one that said that the Raptors were the most vulnerable of the top four teams in the Eastern Conference. And not only did y'all win the Eastern Conference, y'all won the NBA Finals. I've been on record saying that I thought that that Kawhi was going to leave. It was a foregone conclusion that Kawhi was going to leave and go to the Clippers. I still personally think he's going to join the Clippers, but I would not be surprised at all that he stays in Toronto because he just won a championship. Why would he leave? But also in that same token, he won y'all a chip. He done his duty. Now he can go and do what he want to do and go back home to LA. So it's still a 50-50 proposition, but for the most part, I was wrong by saying that y'all were the most vulnerable team because y'all wasn't, just because of Kawhi Leonard being, in my opinion, a top 2-3 player in the NBA. And outside what Kevin Durant looked like in Game 5 for those 11 minutes that he played, Kawhi Leonard might be the best player in the NBA. So I just want to start by saying that because, hey, I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. But now let's talk about this NBA draft because I got a list of 4 players who, in my opinion, who I think the Magic should target in the order that I would target them in, the top 4 players that I would pick in that position, which I think, in my humble opinion, that at least 3 of these players would be there at 16. I highly doubt that they'll all be gone. I think the 3 players will be gone. I actually think there's a good chance that all 4 of them will be there when the 16th pick come. I would be highly surprised if all of them are gone or if 2 of them are gone. If it's 2 or less, I would be shocked. Personally, I would be shocked unless something like, and I wouldn't know what to do unless somebody like Cam slipped all the way to 16. But because New Orleans just acquired the 4th pick, I'm pretty sure that they'll draft. I'm pretty sure that they are at least thinking about taking Cam with their 4th pick to keep him paired up with Zion. So we're gonna see exactly how that pans out. But the first player that I think the Magic should take is Nickeil Alexander-Walker, shooting guard / point guard out of Virginia Tech. He's 6'5", 204 pounds. His pluses are, he shot 47% from the 47% from the field, 37% from the free throw, 37% from the 3-point line. His positives are his assisting, he's a good playmaker, his plus to minus ratio, and also his negatives are his turnovers and his rebounds, his lack of rebounding. Because due to his size, he's a smaller frame guy. He's a guy that kind of reminds me similar to a Terrence Ross type player, even though I know Terrence Ross is way more athletic than he is. But he kind of reminds me of that type of style of a player, more offensively sound. He has a good repertoire of offensive skill sets, able to score the basketball a lot of different ways. One thing I think that's underrated, that I think is a huge positive, is that he's a sophomore. He's not a true freshman. He's not a guy who's a true freshman coming straight out of college. He's a guy who's played 2 years of college collegiate basketball, so he's seen a little bit more. He's not just a straight one-and-done guy that we've seen in the past, 10, 11 years of the one-and-done era, if not longer. We've seen a lot of these one-and-done guys take a while to develop. We've seen a lot of these guys that take about 3-4 years of them playing NBA basketball to develop, because not only are they develop the game, they got to develop as far as growing, because they're 19-year-old kids. He's a guy who has at least just one more extra year under his belt. So I think those things are pretty positive. Also, he can play point guard for you in the pinch. So if you did able to sign somebody like D'Angelo Russell or Kemba Walker, some of that type of nature, and you move Markelle Fultz to the two, he's a guy who he's coming straight off the bench. And also, if you don't, he's a guy who you can use also to help run the court because he can play point guard in a pinch if you need him to. He could be a floor general if you need him to. But even though I think his more natural position is a shooting guard, but he can't play. He's a combo guard. He's a guy who can play the point if you need him to. The second guy that I would take is Kevin Porter Jr., a shooting guard from USC. He's 6'5", 213 pounds, shot 47% from the field, shot 41% from the three-point line. His pluses are rebounding and three-point shooting. His minuses, his negatives, is he's not really good of a passer because he plays a lot of ISO ball. His plus minus and his free throw shooting. I know another thing that's alarming is his maturity issue. Kind of piggybacking off of what I said about Nickeila. He's a true freshman. He's a guy who I think he would have benefited definitely from another year of basketball at USC because I think he has, out of all the guys, he has the best skill set. He has the most complete skill set. He can score. He has a complete repertoire of scoring. He can score from anywhere on the court. He probably, in my opinion, has the most potential. And also, if he would play another year of collegiate basketball, he could definitely be a top 5 pick next year. He should be a lottery pick. And I think if he wasn't getting in trouble off the court and things like that, wasn't getting suspended, he has a lot of maturity issues, that he possibly could have been a lottery pick this year because he has all the skill sets. A guy who said that he models his game after James Harden so far that he even watches James Harden play at Arizona State, which to me speaks volumes. And also, he's also talked about wanting to be a good defender. And we all know when it comes to defense, the want to and the actually playing defense is the biggest part of the effort. Is the biggest part of playing defense. So with a defensive team like that we have with Steve Cliff as the coach, and him having the want to, shows you that you could probably do some things with him, and he could possibly become a good defender. And he has the most star potential out of these guys. He's a guy who could potentially be a number one option. He's a guy who because he has all the skill sets. I know a lot of the Magic fans want him because he has all the skill sets. He is a complete scorer. Now, like I say, his negatives is his plus minus his assistant because he plays a lot of ISO, watching James Harden. But also his free throw. He only shot 52% from the free throw line. That's atrocious, especially coming from a guard. It's different when you have a center like Shaq and Dwight missing free throws, but when you have a guard missing free throws, when they touch the ball at the end of the game, that's problematic. Hopefully, that's mostly due to the lack of playing that he had. Honestly, he only averaged 9 points at USC. He missed a lot of games because he was suspended. So hopefully that is a lot of the maturity issues and those things I think with a coach like Steve Clifford could get corrected and damn sure better get corrected. So I have no problem with taking Kevin Porter Jr. I actually have no problem with them taking Kevin Porter Jr. over Nickeila Alexander. You know, I would take Nickeila, but Kevin Porter Jr. has the best upside of these guys. So I definitely have no qualms about if they took him over him at the 16th spot because I know a lot of Magic fans want him. I want him, but I would take Nickeila over him, but he's a guy I think that has all the skill sets in the world. Now the next guy, the number 3rd guy, is Romeo Langford, shooting guard freshman shooting guard out of Indiana. He is 6'6", 202 pounds. He shot 44% from the field. His pluses is his playmaking ability. His plus minus, his negatives is his 3-point shooting. His 3-point shooting is atrocious, 27% from the 3-point line. He's a guy who reminds me similar to Victor Oladipo. Not saying that he's anywhere on Victor Oladipo's class. Remember, Victor Oladipo was a number 2 pick, and nobody had any issues about that. But he's a guy who is very athletic. He gets by on his athleticism. But it's not that good for shooting. Like I said, only shooting 44% from the field, while the other guys are shooting 47% from the field. And he's also a guy who only shots 27% from 3, which is atrocious. It completely is. That's just a bad shooting average. But he's a guy who has all the skill sets as far as athleticism, rebounding, things like that, defensive. And he's a guy who I think if you playing a game right now, out of these guys, he's the guy who's the most ready to play a game today to start right now. It's just his shooting leaves a lot to be desired. But I think he has some type of potential to get that fixed. He could be a better all-around player. He just won't be a shooter, which again is problematic with this team that doesn't have shooting. This team lacks shooting, and especially if you lose Terrence Ross, and if you lose Fournier, which I think is a spotty shooter, but you probably going to have to lose him to make salary cap space if you get somebody like Denzel Russell. But it's a guy I think that I wouldn't take him. At first, he was my leading choice. I wouldn't take him over the other two guys. You have to really look real hard to take him over Nickeil Alexander and Kevin Porter Jr. because of the shooting, and that's something that we need when the other two guys are clearly better shooters than him. But from an athletic standpoint, he has all the athletic ability that we will need. But again, we already have a team full of athletes, and just to add another one without any shooting, when you start getting in the games when shooting matters, it's like when they're able to box you out and you have to start hitting, need to hit perimeter shots. That would be problematic for the Magic. So I like him, but right now he'd be the third guy. And the fourth guy is Tyler Herro, shooting guard out of Kentucky. He's 6'6". He's a guy who shot 47% from the field. He shot 35% from the three-point line. Now, I know that his three-point shooting is less than Kevin Porter Jr., but that's because he had more attempts than Kevin Porter Jr. Everybody knows what his biggest thing is. He's a shooter. He's the best shooter. He might be the best pure shooter in the whole entire draft. So when you talk about just straight shooting, it's Tyler Herro, hands down. Like, he's the best pure shooter in the draft and comes from Kentucky. Normally Kentucky puts out good NBA players. At the very least, they put out guys who can play. My thing about Tyler Herro is my fear about him out of all four of these guys, that he's the guy that his ceiling is just that, a shooter. I think his ceiling is a Mike Miller type, JJ Redick type. I think those are best case scenarios. Kyle Kuzma. I think those are best case scenarios when he's just a straight sniper, because that's what he is. Don't get it twisted. He's a straight sniper. You put him on the perimeter, he's sniping. But the downside is when he goes cold, he goes cold, and when he gets streaky, it's a funky. He has no other way to get out of that. Because at least with Kevin Porter Jr., he has other ways to score, because he has a full repertoire of scoring. Same thing with Nickeil. When he can't shoot, he got a mid-range game. Langford can take it to the hole. Herro, once he cold, that's it. Like that's the problem with him. He, to me, is not a complete basketball player, and I don't think that he would be a complete basketball player. Like these other three guys, they could be best, especially Kevin Porter Jr. These guys have potential to be a number one option, potentially, especially Kevin Porter Jr. Herro, at the very best, is a straight role player sniper, which is something that this team would need. But unless you are for certain that you can pull off the way to get D'Lo, or that Aaron Gordon will be the guy that you paid him to be, or that Markelle Fultz is the guy that was drafted number one overall and you can correct his shooting. Unless you can get some of these type of things, Mo Bamba becomes a beast as a center. Then Tyler Herro is a perfect matchup. He's a guy that you can come off the bench, boom, hit you a couple snipes, bam, we in the game. But if not, if you still are trying to build something, I don't know that you take him over any of the other three guys. Now, if the other three guys are off the board and he's what's left, or it's just him and Langford and you like, I really need this shooting, those are the type of conversations that Steve Clifford and John Hammond are going to have come Thursday. As a Magic fan, I would take Nickeil, then Kevin, then Romeo, then Herro. But I will understand if they would take Herro. But I know a lot of people want to grit their teeth when you hear that. I don't know, because I know a lot of Magic fans are going to be like that. Like, I don't know. Because he's a good shooter. That's cool. But what about the rest of his game? Because it's kind of like Mario. Mario was targeted to be a good shooter. And as a Magic, he never developed. Kind of same thing you got with Fournier. Fournier is a good spot-up shooter. But he takes a lot of ill-advised shots. And when he goes cold, he goes cold. Now, he's hit some big shots, but when he goes cold, he goes cold. And like I say, same thing with JJ. JJ is my boy. JJ is my favorite basketball player out from the collegiate level. That's the reason why I'm a Duke fan, is because of JJ. I was so crunk and happy when the Magic drafted JJ Redick. But JJ, as a Magic, never developed. He didn't develop until he went to the Clippers as a complete player, because he was just that, just a straight shooter, just a straight spot up shooter. Boom, hey, free throw lines. There's nothing. He's good at. He's excellent at free throw. I think his free throw percent was like 93%, 92%, something like that. He's an excellent free throw shooter. So yeah, hey, we got Tech free throw, boom, a flagrant, hey, boom. Like yeah, we know who gonna shoot those, and we know who gonna get the ball when we need some quick shots, some easy buckets. But when the shot not falling, he doesn't have anything else to piggyback on to score. These other guys can. Like Langford doesn't have a shot anywhere. He has developed a shot, but he has other ways of scoring. Kevin Porter Jr. has every way of scoring. Every way you need to score, Kevin Porter Jr. can score that way. Nickeil Alexander is a good three-point shooter, a good all-around mid-range guy. He just doesn't have the athletic ability to get to the hole because he lacks the size. So, in my opinion, I would take Nickeil at first, Kevin second, Romeo Langford third, and Hero if you had to. But we're going to see what the Magic do with the 16th pick. We're going to see what they do with this number 16 pick. So like, share, subscribe if you haven't. Comment below if you haven't. Click that bell to get more videos. If you got some other suggestions, comment below and let me know. I holla.